Okay, so the clip is titled OTK on why there's no new streamers in the Poggers community.
The perfect stereotypes of so many characters, whether it was like Candyland or Canute.
Didn't
like,
Cutie Cinderella come from there?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I mean, even like me and Miz.
This is the problem with the Poggers community. We're not getting any new blood. We got extra money. We've already taken her.
I agree, man. That's I always say that.
I blame cancel culture because if you guys could host shows like that without being scared of what's happening.
To be honest, we can still do it.
We can't really do it.
No. You cannot do that nowadays.
Yeah, we can.
No, not when you're tied to other
No,
people.
she's 100% right. It's cancel culture that stopped us from doing it.
No. But
people getting afraid that people on streams are going to cancel you, you're going to get banned. That stopped a lot of people doing it.
Am I wrong in thinking that like those shows were not like bad? There were an occasional contestant would come on.
But think about it, they weren't that bad back then, but now imagine now. In 2018, they weren't getting that canceled, but imagine nowadays. It'd be over.
I think all that stuff's still funny.
Yeah, wiggle.
Why is S-Fan the most based person in this room? Why is he the most based person in this room? I don't know how to feel about that. Okay, so can we talk about some stuff? Can we discuss a few things? S-Fan is being so omega giga based. He's always been what? Okay, bro, it's not a personal insult. Don't worry, bro. I'm saying more that like, how is it that like no one else is on the wavelength? I was not making a statement that like, S-Fan is never based. S-Fan is actually a dumb, idiot, stupid baby. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like, why? How is it that these are all established streamers and only one person in this room has an understanding of cancel culture? Right? That's what I'm talking about. Like, I feel like as a content creator, as like a streamer, you have so much exposure to everything that's happening all the time. You should have a very good understanding of what is cancel culture, what isn't cancel culture, what do people respond to negatively, what don't people respond to negatively. Why is it that there's only one of these large content creators in this room that understands this? And technically, historically, he hasn't even been the biggest in this room, right? Miskiff, I think, was the biggest. So let's talk about something. Okay, first of all, how do I want to figure out the perfect way to explain it, because cancel culture is one of those things that's like, it's real, but it's not. So cancel culture is real for people who are average, everyday people who are not used to media attention or publicity or anything like that. So, for example,
DMG.
The libs of TikTok person finding a teacher who is teaching people like that it's okay to be trans, and then that teacher getting fired and doxxed, that is real cancel culture. That is someone whose life is being upended. And why? It's for id pull. That's why. Like the actual thing that's happening is maybe not even that big of a deal, or is not even a problem, but this is someone with no platform on the internet. They don't have anyone to talk to defend their name, and then they're getting fired and doxxed, and they're just a normal, everyday, average person. Against average, everyday people, cancel culture is very real. Against anyone with a platform, cancel culture is not cancel culture. It's like annoying culture. It's just that a bunch of people will always remember this thing that you did. That's it. Oh yeah, so cancel culture is real if you are a small person, if you don't have an internet presence, if you're just like a little guy. You don't have anyone in your corner, you don't have anyone protecting you. You have no media literacy, or like not media literacy, but how to present yourself in media. Like you don't know what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to say, what you're not supposed to say. Like you don't have media training, thank you. You don't have any understanding of like how clipping works, right? Any streamers, for example, they understand the concept of clipping. They understand the concept that like anything they say at any point can and will be used against them. The FD Signifier video that came out, I haven't watched it all because it's like fucking forever, but I watched like the first 30 minutes, and he basically discusses some of this concept where like YouTubers have to constantly be aware of every interaction they've ever had, because it will be used after the fact to prove that they've always been a shitty person or whatever. So people online are aware of this concept that you have to be media trained. You have to know what you're putting out there at all times, because you will be held to a higher standard, as you should be. You should be held to a higher standard as a content creator. If you are online, basically collecting stands and influencing people and influencing people's decisions, their buying choices, how they treat other people, you should be held under more scrutiny. So that's actually a good thing. But I haven't watched the rest of it. But anyways, collect stands, STANs, how to collect stands and influence people. But anyways, okay. I mean, isn't that basic knowledge online? Knowing how to do something or like knowing what you're supposed to do is already a pretty high barrier and most people don't know. And knowing and being able to do it are very different things. Very, very different things. You can be, I mean, listen, how many people in here are bad at video games? How many people in here are sub masters in the video game they play? If you play ranked, you can watch like a challenger player, you can watch a top 500 player and you're like, it's so easy. He just goes in, he ults, he does this, he does that, he does that. And then when your hands have to do it, your hands are dumb as fuck. And it's like, just do the thing. You just watched it. Now do it. Tries to do it, fails. It's the same thing with media training. Like just because you know how you're supposed to present in the media and you know you're not supposed to like say this or do this, when you're in front of a camera, in front of a microphone and thousands of people are watching, it's very easy to be like, so anyways, it's very daunting, especially if you've never done it before. Most normal people are not, first of all, they don't understand even the concept of media training. And even if they did, implementing it for the first time ever is really difficult. It's very difficult. There's a very big difference.
I'm one of the people who has to ask my friends which button is shoot and still accidentally grenades.
Atrioc is literally a PR guy and he flopped on his initial reaction. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's a perfect example. Literally perfect example. It's always easier to watch and be like, you should have done this like this.
The cocaine bear miracle.
And also, you don't expect the amount of bad faith on the internet. Like, there are certain like no-nos online that you just can never do. Like, your sentences are never allowed to be longer than like maybe 10 seconds. Like, if you have an in-depth explanation that takes you 30 minutes to get through, people will just clip chimp you. Like, your explanation was fine. Everything you said made sense. All of the points that you made were coherent. They all came together perfectly. But because there was one section where you said like, listen guys, I get it. So we treat some people differently because of race or whatever. I understand. And then they clip that and they're like, oh, so you think it's okay to treat people differently because of race? It's like, no. I am discussing power dynamics and why people treat people differently, the current state and what it should, you know what, whatever. So like you don't even realize how difficult it is. It's why content creators are constantly getting clipped. It's because there's always one or two bad faith people who just want to see people fail and they will clip you as often as they can. Remember the anti-work mod that went on Fox News? Perfect example of someone who just didn't have media training. For anyone who doesn't remember this, maybe we can watch it really quickly because it is chef's kiss in terms of a perfect example of this exact thing. And I know this is going to be a little painful because all of us see it. It's only 3 minutes long. For anyone who's already seen it, you're in for torture time twice. So for context, this there was a subreddit called Anti-Work, and the subreddit basically was just describing why people don't want to work. So people will post like screenshots of texts with their boss, and they're texting their boss like, I can't make it, I'm really sick, and the boss being like, I'm gonna have to fire you if you don't come in, and they're like, I'm literally like throwing up. I can't show up to work. And they're like, okay, just so you know, your hours are cut next week. And it's like, are you serious? Like, what the fuck? Aren't all of those fake? I have met enough bad employers and I have met enough people that have had bad employers that I know, even if those are fake, the reality is not fake. Anyone in here who's had a tyrannical boss knows that these people are like this. That like, instead of your boss like firing you, they'll just cut your hours to 0 and you're like, hey, I don't have any hours. And they're like, yeah, can I get some hours to work? No. So are you firing me? Yeah. Like anyone who has had one of those bosses knows that like it's everything on the internet. Everything on the internet is fake, but it doesn't mean that it's not happening in real life. Is that legal? I mean, I'm pretty sure 90% of the stuff that employers do is not legal. So this is one of the mods of this subreddit. Went on Fox News to talk about the subreddit.
million subscribers. Joining me now is the person who operates this anti-work group, Doreen Ford. All right, so Doreen, why
is there music playing on this video?
You like the idea of being home, not working, but still getting paid by corporate America?
Yeah, so there's some misconceptions about the movement. So we're a movement where we want to reduce the amount of work that people feel like they're forced to do. And so we want to still put in effort, we want to put in labor, but we don't want to necessarily be in a position where we feel trapped. You just quoted from Office Space, where that person feels very trapped in their job. I think we're calling for a society where there's less of that. But yeah, absolutely, people still want to do things. They just want to do things where they feel rewarded and they feel like they're in a good spot in their life, and that their job respects them and stuff like that.
So far, this person, this Reddit mod has been spitting. Like, all of this is based. Literally all of this is based. It's not that people don't want to work. It's that people are tired of being treated like garbage and being treated disposable just by being the reason why their employers are millionaires. However, it took him 45 seconds to say that. And things like this need to be said within like 5-10 seconds. It needs to be, her. It needs to be very, very, very quick like that, because no one is going to listen to this fucking diatribe. But if you say, oh, it's very simple. I think you have some misconceptions about what the subreddit is about. It's not that people want to work. People love working. It's in our nature to want to be busy. We are just tired of being disposable to our employers. We provide a service to our employers. We deserve some basic level of respect. We show up to work on time every day. We are respectful to all the customers. We're respectful to our bosses. We're respectful to our employers and fellow employees. We deserve some basic level of respect, and that's what we're fighting for. Something like that gets straight to the point. It's really hard to critique, and you have to do it while having charisma. That was 45 seconds too? No, that was like 20. Fox News knew what they were doing. They wouldn't have interviewed someone that would have made it look would have given it a good interview. They wanted to make someone look bad. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's literally. It's straight up the same thing. I'm not saying anything different from this moderator. I'm literally saying the same exact thing. But you have to have that media presence. And especially because you have to recognize, who are you talking to? Less us and ums and so and exactly. You never want to speak with us and ums and everything like that. Right? We're still, by the way, we're still halfway through the interview. This isn't even the bad part. You guys will see what the bad part is. But even within this small portion, we can look into it and say, hey, what is wrong with this? Like, how can we make this better? But you are lying to yourself genuinely. Okay. Have some hubris. Okay, chat. Or is it humility? Don't be the dude who's like, yeah, I could fucking fight a bear. I could fight a bear. I could fight a grizzly bear. Don't be that person, okay? Don't be that person. You in front of thousands of people or millions of people, because Fox News gets millions of viewers. You would not perform well. You would not, unless you already have media training, or you've taken a lot of speech stuff or whatever, or you do theater or something. Unless you already have that stuff, if you work a regular job with regular friends, you will struggle with this. I mean, Hassan would struggle with this. When you're in front of that many people and you know that these people are not going to be receptive to what you're saying, it's very easy to get clammy, to get nervous, for your voice to start shaking. And when you get anxious about things, you literally just become dumber. You do. It's any strong emotion makes you feel dumber. Why do you always go for the bear metaphor? Because I think it's a great one. So no one be mean, no one be toxic or anything, chat, okay? Speech and theater, how about understanding the issues? Finance, economics, politics, This is literally an example of someone who understands the issues, but because they're not media trained, no one is receptive to what they're saying. Politicians don't win on policy. They never have. Politicians win on perceived favorability. That is literally politics. And I'm sorry that that's the way that it is. I am genuinely, as a socialist, I fucking despise it. But you have to live in reality. And reality is that most people don't give a fuck about the actual issues. Most people don't realize that the actual issues are important. No, that person doesn't understand much at all. He is giving a speech of victimhood from his paid-for house with a lisp to boot. You're literally doing it. You don't even care about the issue. You're making fun of her lisp. You are like, this is unbelievably funny to me that you are the person critiquing that people don't care about the issues, and then you have the audacity to insult someone for having a lisp. What happened to the issues? Why are you insulting their lisp? Okay, sorry, I forgot that we were roasting this chatter, my bad. Let's go back to this. With a lisp to boot. Wrong. First, lisp second, hence the term to boot. The fact that you're talking about it at all shows the importance of media presentability. The fact that you're talking about the lisp at all shows that you agree that your ability to speak and your ability to perform in public is important. Because if it wasn't important, you wouldn't have brought it up. You would have just said, this person doesn't understand what they're talking about. But you didn't. Okay? Dude, am I the only person that feels like a certain type of way when like you're trying to talk about a certain issue, but I'm gonna tap the tweet again, guys. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, guys. It's crazy that a woman can be doing literally anything and there will always be one man commenting on how attractive or unattractive she is. In a discussion about Yvonne on lisps, she's great and hot. This is not relevant to the discussion. Why do people do this? Why can't we just talk about, and hot to boot? Why can't we just talk about, why is it that anytime a woman is on screen ever, you can never have a discussion? There's always one person that doesn't want to actually have the discussion about what's being spoken about. Just so you know, I think this person is attractive. Or just so you know, I think this person is unattractive. So weird to me. It's so weird to me. It's like one of those things that I feel like will never go away, but we just have to deal with it. You know, we just have to deal with it. Okay, so
why no kinetic sand videos such?
Do you guys want the sand again?
There's varying.
So Doreen, you're not being forced to work. This isn't slave labor. You've applied for a job. You've agreed to the terms and conditions of.
What is this called in Marxist theory? What's the term? Because this is always what people say. They're like, well, you entered an agreement that you would be a slave for the rest of your life. No, not wage slavery. No, the response to this statement. Manufactured consent. Thank you. Yes. From my understanding, manufactured consent discusses, let's see. You know what? I've never looked at the Wikipedia article for, okay, so I think my understanding is pretty, for manufactured consent, yeah. I've seen it written in like other works that I've read, but never actually looked at the Wikipedia page. The TLDR is like, you are agreeing to this contract to work for pennies because you can't get anything better. Just because you said yes doesn't mean it's what you wanted, or doesn't mean that should be something that you are supposed to agree to. That if you have like a propaganda machine telling you that like you're a lazy bastard if you don't work your job, and you're a lazy motherfucker for wanting a job that makes you fulfilled or whatever, and you should work to pay your bills or whatever, doesn't mean that it's correct. Doesn't mean that it's fine. Manufacturing Consent by Chomsky is great. Yeah, it's really good. Let's watch the documentary. It's only 2 hours long. Oh, gosh. Basically, you're under financial duress. Yeah, because you have to work a job. And you have to work whatever job will pay you enough to live because you need it to live.
Employment, and you can walk away from that job at any time and quit.
What a joke. You can walk away from the job anytime you want. I'm sorry, Dennis. Have you forgotten about economics, finance, politics?
I don't understand really what this is about, except it sounds like maybe people are just being lazy. Are you encouraging?
Such a scumbag. I hate this guy. This guy has to be on like top 5 most punchable people on the planet.
People to be lazy?
So I think laziness is a virtue in a society where people constantly want you to be productive 24/7, and it's good to have rest. That doesn't mean you should be resting all the time or not putting effort into things that you care.
Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things that he just said. Because remember, guys, this is all within the conversation about media, like preparedness and media training. Yeah, this interview is like the perfect example of like a bad faith interviewer and a lack of media training. So you cannot, if you are talking to an audience of millions of people who think that the left is all about just being lazy, and you say laziness is a virtue, you have to recognize that that is not going to like play out well. Like people are not going to be receptive to that sentence.
My favorite Jesse Waters fact: in order to meet his current wife, he let the air out of her tires and offered her a ride home in order to make a move on her.
What happened to the Trump bot? I feel like the Trump bot was better, and now he just sounds a little senile. I don't understand what happened to it, but that's okay. He is someone who clearly doesn't have enough media training, and that's what that is. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing you can do about that. Or like, even like, and I'm talking mostly about things that you would say and how you would speak and what words you would say, the sentences you would say, the order which you would present things, and the speed at which you speak. But also, I think there is a important level of like media presentability. And unfortunately, if you are presenting to millions of people who already are predisposed to thinking that you are a lazy motherfucker and all the leftists just don't want to work anymore, and you look disheveled, at least in comparison to your interview, people judge you for that. The saddest thing about becoming an adult is realizing how much looks matter all the time. Like literally all the time. And she got it from both sides too, because the mods came out saying they didn't want her to do the interview. Yeah. When you're talking to someone wearing a suit and tie, a face full of makeup, amazing lighting, and you clearly are someone who doesn't have amazing lighting, you know, you haven't really styled your hair. Maybe you're wearing glasses that aren't fitting your face appropriately. You're not wearing clothes that look presentable or like office friendly. Maybe the background looks a little messy. People are judging you at all times for things like that.
But I think one of the
What do you think is like a good work day? How many hours is you know, a solid work day in your ideal society?
Sure. I mean, I think as much as people want. I mean, I personally work. I have like a 25 hour work weeks, which I think is fairly good. So I would like less work hours.
And this is like the sad thing, right? Like the sad thing is this mod is spitting. They're not even wrong with anything that they're saying. They're literally not even wrong. Like, you should work as much as you want to or are able to. And that would be a definition that fulfills
there is a level of comfort to being on camera most normies haven't had time to develop. But the younger generation is actually becoming more comfortable being on camera since they always were, even as babies.
It's scary, actually. But yeah, I mean, it's a good definition to encompass like the entire spectrum of like working hours. If you are someone, are you sure he meant laziness as a virtue? It sounded like more he was describing working all the time as a virtuous quality ascribed by capital. No. So his description of, okay, wait. I'm getting stunlocked by chat. One sec. Let me take one thought at a time. Let me respond to the laziness as a virtue. He is saying that in a society that makes you think that you have to be working all the time, a little bit of laziness, or more aptly, enjoyment of life, should be considered a virtue. Working yourself to death is not a virtue. And I don't know why we've tricked ourselves into thinking that it is. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry. It's that I read the messages with male pronouns and then I repeat the male pronouns instead of correcting them. I will try and be better. They, instead of her using a different word and saying, I wouldn't describe it as laziness, I would describe it as leisure. And leisure is a virtue in a society that wants to grind you to your bones. Like, that is a beautiful sentence. Well, it could be better. I'm not like a wordsmith by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not an amazing writer. But that's already a good step up. It's already a good step in the right direction. I'm sure even my sentence could be improved in a variety of ways. But that's my point, right? You have to say the sentences in the way that they will be most appealing to the most people all the time, because not everyone will do what we're doing, where we're listening to the words and we're trying to glean what the person actually means. We are all using media literacy to listen to what they're saying and say and think, what does this person mean when they say this? Oh, when they say laziness is a virtue, what they mean is overworking yourself should not be considered ideal. And we have completely fooled ourselves by convincing ourselves that it is good. But we can do that because we understand the concepts and we're not being bad faith. But when you have a bad faith interviewer and most of the people that are going to watch you on Fox News are hyper conservatives, you have to couch all the language perfectly. It's like, has anyone looked into like the studies about or the surveys into Medicare for All? When you tell people, do you want a socialized or do you want a single taxpayer healthcare system, the majority of Americans vote no. And when you explain to them, you say, would you like a healthcare system that was provided by the state, that would lower your costs, that would allow you to keep your doctor, and XXYZ, it's like 78 or 80% say, yes, I want that. Because you have to realize, who am I talking to? How do I need to prepare this sentence so that they can listen to the words that I'm saying? And Fox News dipshits, like the people who watch Fox News, they are barely using a single brain cell, if that. Even literally the word Medicare triggers people. Yep. When you explain a lot of socialist programs without using evil terms, most people agree with it in concept. It's really funny. Yep. People will agree with every single tenet of socialism until the point where you say the word socialism. So that's like another part. So you guys understand this concept of like media literacy and like understanding you have to present things to people differently because not everyone is going to go out of their way to understand what you mean. Some people, they're so convinced that the real problems in society are being caused by like the communist Joe Biden or whatever, that they are so bought into this narrative that they're obsessed with like being bad faith all the time. They don't even want to give you a second to hear what you're saying.
And you do, Doreen?
Oh, I'm a dog
I've
walker.
never understood this argument. Why don't Americans get access to their chosen doctor? I thought the whole idea was choice. People think Americans have been brainwashed into thinking that if you get Medicare for all, you'll have to wait for 10 days in order to get your arm fixed if you got in a car crash. And also, if you get socialized medicine, you have to get only the shitty doctors and you will never have a good doctor anymore. That's what people unironically have been brainwashed in the US to think.
A dog walker. Okay.
Yes.
And how?
Yeah. So
how
I
old
find a
are
lot
you,
of
if you don't mind me asking?
Sure, I'm 30.
You're 30. Okay. And is there something
So
you
like,
want to do?
and this is another problem where like you have to recognize, how is this person gonna clip chimp me? Like, I forget. Yeah, Jesse Waters. This guy's a complete scumbag. This guy is a complete scumbag. He's trying to figure out how to make her as unpresentable as possible. So he's like, oh, so let me get this straight. You're a 30-year-old dog walker that works 20 hours a week and you think that that's good. You think society will function if everyone acts like you. And you have to be aware of these things. You literally have to be aware of all of these things. So when you're talking, you're like, you have to constantly think, how is this person going to spin what I'm saying? And that's not easy. It's not easy if you've never done anything in front of media, if you've never done anything with people who are bad faith. So what she should have said was, I work 20 to 25 hours a week, and that is enough for me to be able to pay my bills and to live life and enjoy life. And when Jesse Waters says, what do? You say, honestly, the job that I do is not relevant. As long as people are working jobs that are beneficial to society, that there is a clear need for that job in society, that's all that matters. And if he pushes again and says, no, what job do you work? Then you have to, I couldn't even tell you. I do streaming as my job. I can't even tell you what would be the right answer to say to that. Would you lie? I don't think lying is a good idea because then you get exposed later and it's like, oh, this person lied about their job, blah, blah, blah. Attack relevance of the question. Well, I already did. That's the problem. What do you do when they push you again, right? But so here's the problem, right? People are saying, you ask why he wants to know, you tell him it's none of his damn business. Isn't it fucked up that those are correct responses, but in this situation, those are incorrect responses? That if you said that, you would be walking right into their trap. If you said, well, why is it any of your business? Then you get clipped and you're like, why are you getting so triggered, you snowflake? Why are you dodging the question? What do you do? What do you do? You have to be aware of every single thing, every single second, every single moment. You just tell them you're a media personality in your scenario. It's literally the same job that he has. What happens a week later when it's exposed that you are not a media personality and actually you're a dog walker? And then you have to see a 2-hour segment about yourself the next day talking about how you are a liar and all of the left lies about their jobs because they know that they don't provide anything. Isn't it fucked up that being part of being good at media and part of being good at speaking is literally inventing a guy? Isn't it crazy that like you have to invent a guy that's going to be a contrarian to everything you say all the time? And people are not ready to do that. People are not ready to be able to say, like, to think, okay, is there anything wrong with the statement I'm about to say? Is there anything wrong with the statement I'm about to say? Like, you literally have to give yourself mental illness in order to be good at media. You have to be. Oh my God, this guy is still chatting. Did you ever respond to my question, Corwin? So I asked them, why did you bring up the LISP in the first place if all you care about is finance, economics, and policy and understanding the issue? Why did you bring up the list in the first place? And then you didn't respond. Why don't they ever respond, chat? Why don't they ever respond? I did respond. Okay, copy paste the message that you responded with. Copy paste the message. I just scrolled through your chat messages. I didn't find them. There's this cool, neat trick in chat, by the way. If you press the up button in chat, it pulls up your previous message and the previous message before that and the previous message before that. It's pretty neat. I don't know if anyone here doesn't know that, but you can, I don't know if it works in Twitch chat. It does work in Chatterino. Really? No way? I can't tell if the no ways are sarcastic or or you guys are just trolling me. Or like it's serious. Whoa, that's crazy. Okay, if I taught any people at all, I'm really happy. On mobile too. If you're on mobile, like the world is not built for you. I'm sorry. That wasn't the question that I asked. Come on, pay attention. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up, Corwin. Wake up. I didn't say that. I didn't say, what is the Lisp second? I said, why are you bringing up the Lisp at all? If the only thing that matters, should I write it down for him? I'll write it down for him. Hold up. What was the exact wording that you used? Perfect. We'll put this in here. We'll put this here. Is that good? Could you answer this question? That should be nice big letters for you. I'm going to mention both. Why? This is the key word here. Why? I didn't say, what are you doing? I said, why? Because it's funny. You are the biggest piece of shit on the planet, and you are literally scum of the earth. And the fact that you have the audacity to call yourself a leftist and make fun of woke liberals when you are literally the biggest woke liberal on the fucking planet, you absolute fucking shit for brains. I am not usually this mean, but it is actually so disgusting that you have the audacity to laugh at someone who at least had the courage to show up on Fox News when you unironically type in fucking ellipses. You absolute dipshit. It's actually crazy to me that you have the audacity to laugh at other people when you are literally the biggest lol cow on the planet. Do you know the only people that do this are boomers? Are you aware? Look, this guy's literally a fucking liberal. This guy's literally a liberal. You are literally the thing that you insult. How does it feel to be a liberal? How does it feel to insult people for only caring about the superficial and not caring about the policies, and then you do the exact same thing? Crazy to me. That's crazy to me. It's always like really weird to me when people pretend to be like this savior type of person and they judge other people, but they are not someone that should be judging other people. Because I don't mind if someone says something, I think it's like two separate things. If one person says, LOL, the Lisp is funny, that's very different from saying, you woke liberal. This is the woke liberal standard. No one cares about the actual issues. And then you do the thing that you're insulting? Chat, everybody, I need you guys all to pray, okay? I need everybody to thank Allah, okay? For not making us as dumb as this guy, okay? Thank you, God. Thank you. You could have given me the fewest amount of brain cells and made me type in Twitch chats and show people how much of a hypocritical dumbfuck I am, but you didn't. You made me a funny chatter that puts Keck W's and talks about social issues in a way that isn't completely fucking moronic. Thank you. I'm jealous. I wish I was ignorant. Oh, God. Oh, Lord.
Thank you, Ella, and watch over Wormy and Mayor 2 Proj.
She doesn't understand.
Work has been busy, but enjoy having your stream on while doing my routes.
What about
Have
LOL?
another Spectrum Technician sponsored sub-missed Denbo DNM balls.
Thank you, Galactic. Thank you for the 18 months. Thank you. She doesn't understand what I said. Lord. I think we're done with this video. I'm not going to make us get tortured by this video any longer. The TLDR is, even, not going to lie, you look kind of Arab. I am. Thanks for noticing. To be clear, the only thing that I'm trying to explain with this video is that, like, even people who are very good at media, like even the biggest streamers will still fuck up. People who are in front of cameras 24/7 who know what you should say, what you shouldn't say. Like the Atriox situation. That's someone who is like the PR guy and he fumbled the bag. He fumbled it. And it's because it's when you look at it, it's easy to critique. It's hard to do. Oh, what part? Me too. Wait, are you actually? I didn't know that. My mom is Moroccan and my dad is Egyptian. So I'm Palestinian. I have a very good Palestinian friend of mine. I mean, he did a little bit more than fumbling it. Oh, well, I'm just talking about, it was a little more than just fumbling. You're right. I was trying to defend it a little, but I was like, no. You're right. It was definitely a bit more. Back to the video. Let's start it from the beginning since it's been so much time passed, but okay.
The perfect stereotypes of so many characters, whether it was like Candyland or Canute.
Didn't
like,
Cutie Cinderella come from there?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I mean, even like me and Miz.
This is the problem with the Poggers community. We're not getting any new blood. We got extra money. We've already taken her.
I agree, man. That's I always say that.
I blame cancel culture because if you guys could host shows like that without being scared of what's happening.
To be honest, we can still do it.
We can't really do it.
No, you cannot do that nowadays.
Yeah,
no, not when you're tied to other people.
No, she's 100% right. It's cancel culture that stopped us from doing it.
No, but
people getting afraid that people on streams are going to cancel you, you're going to get banned. That stops a lot of people doing it.
Okay, so can we talk about a couple things? Didn't Kai literally have like a phone call where some other guy literally said the F slur and he didn't get banned? Didn't that happen just last week? For anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, I'm not going to watch it because it literally has the F slur in it. But the derogatory F slur against gay people. And he was on the phone with someone and he was saying something like, he was like, oh, you know, like, what do you want to like? He said something that would insinuate that his friend on the phone was gay. Something similar to that. And the guy said, what do you think I am? And then like Kai hangs up the call and he didn't get banned for that. This idea of like cancel culture is so nonsensical. It's so nonsensical because everyone knows that like, I'm not even going to go down that dialogue tree. Just all I'm trying to say is, that was something that should have been banned. You should be banned for that because as a streamer, you're responsible for any type of content you bring on your stream. Streamers have been banned for having conversations with other people and other streamers and other YouTubers, and the YouTuber says something offensive and the streamer gets banned because they're platforming that person. Let's finish the clip.
Am I wrong in thinking that?
Oh, I was trying to list examples. Like J.K. Rowling. Canceled, still a billionaire. Dave Chappelle, canceled, still getting shows, appearing on SNL. Elon Musk, canceled, still a billionaire. Although he did lose a fuck ton of money after he bought Twitter, which was funny as fuck. Louis C.K., he still does comedy shows. Fucking Chris D'Elia, he still does comedy shows. These people are very canceled for things that they did that were, well, so at least some of these people did things that were actual crimes. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much you cancel someone. Like, if they're big enough, they're just it's fine. Because they have enough, like, fans and stans that they don't care. We're almost at hour 3 on this. I don't have words. Like, I don't have words for this. This is like, I think this is the worst sunlocking that's existed on Twitch ever. It's just that there's so much in this clip that like is worth talking about and discussing. I missed the clip. Okay, we're going to watch the entire thing this time, okay? I am going to not say a word. Okay? I'm not going to say a word. We're going to finish the clip in its entirety, okay?
The perfect stereotypes of so many characters, whether it was like Candyland or Canute.
Didn't Cutie Cinderella come from there?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I mean, even like me and Miz.
This is the problem with the Poggers community. We're not getting any new blood. We got extra money. We've already taken her.
I agree, man. I always say that.
I blame cancel culture because if you guys could host shows like that without being scared of what's happening.
To be honest, we can still do it.
We can't really do it.
No, you cannot do that nowadays. No, not when you're tied to other people.
No, she's 100% right. It's cancel culture that stopped us from doing it.
No, but
people getting afraid that people on streams are going to cancel you, you're going to get banned. That stops a lot of people doing it.
Am I wrong in thinking that like those shows were not like bad? There were an occasional contestant would come on.
But think about it, they weren't that bad back then. But now imagine now. In 2018, they weren't getting that canceled. But imagine nowadays, it'd be over.
I think all that stuff's still funny. The perfect.
Okay, we did it. We finished it. Okay, we finished it. This has to be a joke, right? What, like me? Because I am a joke. But are you talking about like the clip? This is not a joke.